Okay, so today is the last class, which it's kind of amazing because it really passed by very quickly, this whole course, to be honest. And the last argument, the last topic that we're gonna discuss is gonna be functions. Okay, so I choose this nice YouTube video to start. I think it's a good one.
In this video lesson, we're going to talk about a couple of different ways that you can enter functions in MATLAB. So there are three different ways
Can
we're
you
going
hear
to
it?
look at, and the first of these is called an anonymous function.
Nice.
An anonymous function, you just enter, so if I wanted to say f equals, let's do just x squared minus 1, that's a simple one. What you're going to do is say f equals, and then you need to tell it what the variable is. So at parenthesis x, so that identified the variable. And then now then our function is x squared minus 1. And I'll put a semicolon there. Okay, don't want it to repeat that one. And then I could use this, so f of 3, and the answer is 8. Okay, so that's one way. It's called an anonymous function. So just like an author being anonymous. The next way is an inline function. And to do this one, what you want to do is you're going to type, well, let's see, what was I doing? X squared minus 1. So function 2, okay, equals inline, and then you just type your function out in single quotes. X squared minus 1, and then a parenthesis, and then your variables, and this time it goes in single quotes. So not in parentheses, it's in single quotes. Okay, and I forgot to do a semicolon at the end, and again I can check this, f of 3, and it gives me the same answer. So those are the two that I can do just running straight from the command window. The third is going to require us to write our first little program in MATLAB. Now, to do a program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to New Script. So New Script, push that, and then it brings up this editor over here. And in the editor, what I need is I need a function, and the command for that is function. And then we'll name it y equals my function. My func is usually what I use. The variable is x. Indent a little for clarity. And then y equals, what was I doing? X squared minus 1. And then I'm going to unindent and then type end. Okay, so now that I've done that, I want to save this. So I'll just hit save, and then I'm going to name it. So my func, it matches what I had called my program over there. And then I'm going to save it, and generally it's in the right place, but you just want to make it sure that it's going to your working documents. And so I say save, and now then I want to come back to my command window. So I can close that up, and now then in my command window, if I say my func of 3, I get the answer 8. So those are 3 different ways that I can enter a function.
So we said that there are 3 different ways to make a function. We have anonymous functions using inline, and then writing a program function. So what are the differences between these 3 ways to write functions? So one difference is that anonymous functions and the use of inline So it can be done directly from the command window. But if you decide to write your own program function, then you have to use a script. And then it has to must be done before using the function. So here in this example, we want to write a function that calculates the average of 3 numbers. So this function takes 3 arguments, which are the 3 numbers that we want to average. And when we write the function, we first start with the name of the function, then we state the arguments, and then we write the actual command. So we have like the name of the function, then like at, argument number 1, argument number 2, argument number 3, and then the actual command. And then you just call the function listing here your variables. The second way was using inline. Here we still want to write a function that calculates the average of 3 numbers. This time after inline, we start with the command, which is the actual average, and followed by the 3 arguments, so A, B, and C. You can name it wherever you want. If you put like X, Y, and Z, it also works, of course. And then we call the function always in the same way. So function name and then the arguments. I mean, the variables that match the arguments. And then finally, writing a program function. So to create a function this way, you'll need to create a new script and run the script. Sometimes when you run the script, it gives you an error, but don't worry, just ignore it. Then you have to save the function with the name of the function, possibly, and makes things easier. And then if you don't want troubles, please remember that the script should only contain your function. If you put other things in the script that you just created, like 85% of the time, it's not going to work. So just for peace of mind, just remember that the script should only contain your function. And finally, make sure that when you use the function, the script is in the same work folder that you're using, of course. So with a program, you start literally by writing function, followed by the return output. If there is no output, just leave it blank with only the square brackets. So in the video that we saw, actually, the person in the video was not using the square brackets. And there's nothing wrong with that because the function will work perfectly even like that without the square brackets. But it's a good practice, I think, to just use them because sometimes you don't need any like output of the function. For example, when at the end you just use display. And so in this case, you will do something like that, and then you need like empty square brackets. So it makes more sense to use it like often just to remember that they're there, and then you should use it sometimes. Or like sometimes you can return like a multiple output, for example, X and Y. Let's assume that we want to calculate the average, but we also calculate the sum. And so we'll do something like that. And that's it without the calculating the average. So in this case, you will have to state double output here. And so on. You can make very complex functions. So yeah, I just suggest to remember the square brackets all the time. Okay, so square brackets, then write the name of the function and its arguments into brackets like that. And then in the body of the function, I'll just specify the actual equation or for loops or whatever you want to do. And then you end the function. So are these three ways equivalent? It depends. So I suggest to use the script function, the program function. First of all, like just use it as much as possible. It's a little bit slower than the other methods, it's true, but it makes your life much easier. Like everything is much clearer and neater. And then sometimes you will have very complicated functions, and then you will need to reuse them in the future. And so it's a good practice to have a folder with all your functions for like a specific project, for example. And so just keep them there and reusing them. But if you don't need to reuse these functions for like in the future, or if the function is very easy, then at that point you can just use an anonymous function or just use inline. So to practice, let's open the file, my first function, sorry.
TwoSum equals at a
Like that?
parentheses around A.
Okay.
And B. And then A plus B.
Like that?
Yes.
Let's see if it works. Okay, and then like okay, so let's try it. So I'll call it some but you can't see it there. Sorry. There we go. Okay, let's do like 2 and 3. Yes, nice. Okay, and what about this one? Okay. I think it's, yeah, okay. So like that?
Yes. So it has to have those like quotes around it.
Yes.
Okay, I was missing that. And then I have R there. Does that one need to be in quotes too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that should work. Did it work for you?
Yeah, I was missing the quotes, but now it works.
Create a new script and make a program function that multiplies all the number of a vector with every number of another vector, and it prints every multiplications out. I would say let's start by creating just a new script.
Okay.
Okay.
So it would be like function brackets x equals.
So the first thing is like just choosing a name for the function. So
Okay.
for example, multi2, and then we need the 2 arguments, right? So we have 2 vectors and we can call it vector1 and then vector2, and that is going to be our start. You can also just put the end, so we don't forget to do it. So don't think about like how to code it, but think like how you would do it like logically. So what do we need to do here?
Would you do like index the first item of one matrix and multiply it by the other matrix?
By all the items of the other matrix, yes.
And then the same with the second.
Yes, exactly.
Is there a length function or like size or something?
Yeah, the length function actually.
Okay.
So for the index, equal 1, 2, that you said the length function, right?
Mm-hmm.
So length, oops, of what?
Vec1.
Okay. You have to use the index to access the vector. Okay, so it would have been like the vector, in this case vector1, and then you just like, for example, if you want to access the first element of the vector, you just put 1 into brackets. If it's like the third element of the vector, you put 3, and so on. So but we want to access all the elements in the loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what should we put in the parentheses? So we have to access at the beginning 1, then 2, then 3.
So how is this? If we do that, why did we have to do the index thing above?
Because, and here's the trick, you actually use the index
Oh,
to
you do.
access, to access because the index is going to be 1, 2, 3, etc., up to the end of the for all the lengths of the vector. So if the vector has 10 elements, we said length of vector 1, so it's going to be from 1 to 10. And so you'll have the indexes is like one time in the loop, it's 1, then the second time it's 2, then the third time is 3. And so basically, it's like you are accessing in a loop vector 1, first element, vector 2, second element. But instead of rewriting it, you just write that.
Okay.
And I think we should call it something, just to have it later. Okay, and then, so now we have all the first element of the first vector all nice and accessed. What about the old elements of the second vector?
Do we just do the same thing?
Yes. But we have to be careful not to call the index with the same name. So we're going to call it index 2.
Okay.
So from 1 to the length, the lengths of vector 2. And here, what is going to be?
V2 equals vec2 idx2.
Yes. And now what?
Can you multiply them now? Like just v1. Do you have to do the element-wise multiplication?
Yeah, you can just multiply them now, actually. So we want our output is x. So we can do like x equal v1 times v2. If then it gives you error, you just put the dot here, but it should work.
Okay.
Or the other thing that you can do is actually remove the output and don't put any output and just put like display. So it's just gonna display this, and you don't need any output, just to show you that sometimes you don't need the output here. And are we forgetting something?
Probably.
Yeah, we're just forgetting to close both
Uh,
loops. Every time there is a 4, every time you open something, you should close it, like the closet. This is a very bad example. Okay, now let's see if it works. Not sure. So let's see. 3 and 6. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 2 times 4 is 8. Perfect. Just to sum up, it's very important to use like a program function every time you have something a little bit complicated, because can you imagine to write like an anonymous function? Like if you have to do something like that with an anonymous function, I mean, it would have been a nightmare. I don't even know how to do it. This was the solution, which is exactly what we did, just with other names. Okay, so I don't know if you have been working on the project, or like if you tried already to do one, or like the vast majority of people in the class, you were very busy with finals. I remind you that it was completely like optional. It's not that something that like you receive credit for like you know. But anyway, I have the solution for the level 1, but I'm gonna send it out around August, so people are not tempted to look at them. And and so you have some time in case like you're very bored during like summertime, or it's too hot to go outside, so you can just play with MATLAB. And yeah, just also wanted to remind that we can write a poster out of this project. So in case you're interested to submit to RISE or other conferences, just let me know.
Okay.
So that's the end of the class and the end also of the MATLAB course. We did a lot of topics, and I really hope that it was like something like useful. I had so much fun doing this class because it was my very first class as well, and I hope I haven't bored you too much. And so if you have any feedback, like just you can say it now, or you can send me an email, or nothing. That's also okay. And yeah, also let me know in the future if you're interested in, like, for example, like another course for intermediate to upper intermediate, or if you wanna do like let's do Python from scratch, or let's do R from scratch. Yeah, just let me know and we'll see what we can do.
All right.
Questions?
No, but thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And so good luck with the finals.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll have a nice summer.
You too. Enjoy your time in Italy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.